Secretary Connally, sir.
Mr. President.
Hi, John.
How are you, sir?
How are you? I hope I'm not interrupting you.
No, sir. I'm just meeting with my staff, and I just stepped there. We're just talking about how we reconstitute ourselves, what ideas we can give you to solve some of the problems this country faces. I don't know if we're going to come up with anything, but we can talk about it.
You've been doing pretty good so far.
I hope you will ask Ms. Nixon to forgive us for not being out there last night.
Oh, goodness. You shouldn't have
I stayed in my pajamas all day, and we were coming, and it was such bad weather. It fell down in my back that I just thought we wouldn't do it, and I didn't realize it was going to be
not on your life.
Will you please ask her to forgive us?
No. We didn't. We didn't expect people to come, John.
Well, we felt real bad when we
somewhere. You know what I mean? It was just a few were able to come anyway. No, just right, but it was just great. Let me ask you one question, and I won't bother you long. I'm working in the State of the Union this week, you know, and I just talked to John Ehrlichman before noon. He said that he talked to you briefly about this plan on value added and so forth, and that he felt that you felt that it was all right to handle it on this basis of sort of trial ballooning. In other words, that what we would, in order to preempt the issue, as I understand it, that I would try to meet this week with McElroy. You and I and Richardson would meet with McElroy. That we would have the intergovernmental committee,
right, chaired by the Vice President, I think,
by Agnew, that he'd get them together first and next week, and so forth, before the State of the Union, and you'd be present in Richardson again and float the idea there with them and ask them to think about it.
Right.
In the State of the Union, I would just refer to the idea and say that this is a problem of grave concern, and that I've taken these steps in consultations and have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to give me a recommendation, so forth and so on. Now, that would leave us, as I understand it, in a position to either go or stop for 3-4 months from now. Now, does that sound all right to you?
I think it sounds like a very plausible and intelligent way to handle it.
All right.
Because I just don't think, Mr. President, you want to go up with any kind of legislation right now. It ties you down without any accruing benefits. I think it's an issue. You can capture the issue. You can talk about it in general terms and get all of the value and none of the disadvantages, because you don't tie yourself down to specifics. And I would sure let them float it. And I think the Vice President's idea of doing it through that advisory council and intergovernmental relations is a damn good one.
Now, we will use your name in it, but that's right. Then you at some time will just say, well, yes, I'm studying it, and my people are studying it, and something has to be done, but we don't want to. Another argument I think, John, you should make to everybody is to say, look, we have a very practical thing, and that you and the President talk about this, and that we don't want to send down to that committee with all it has on its plate a piece of legislation that is for pure political reasons. We know they're not ready for it yet, and we want to think about it more, and they get a chance to think about it and then send it on. Doesn't that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Because Wilbur's going to have his own revenue sharing. He's got to have health. He's got to have the gold bill. He's got all these things. And I think that's a good reason for. So do I. Now, in terms of the State of the Union itself, then that really isn't going to leave us too much in the way of something really quite new. Now, I wonder what you feel, whether that probably isn't all right in a sense. Or tell me what you think. I've been having them try to scrub up something new, but I haven't seen anything that's worth a damn.
I don't think, if you can't have something with real substance and real meat in it, I wouldn't try to. I would just, in general terms, I hadn't thought in terms of language, but talk about this as a period of consolidation. Right? We've undertaken great changes in the domestic economic front, the international economic front, the international diplomatic front, and frankly, this is going to be a year of expansion and consolidation.
And we can ask the Congress now to act on those things that we already presented before.
Reorganization of health and welfare,
really, so forth. In a sense, if with welfare reform, health, government reorganization, revenue sharing, we have everything there already. That's right. That is needed. You see, not to mention, of course, the cleaning up of the international monetary thing.
Right.
So I really think that we say now There really isn't, is there?
No, there isn't. No, and I think you've taken it. I think you have to lend credence to what you've been saying, that you've taken bold steps in the international field, winding down the war, the trip to Moscow, China, the International Monetary Front, the International Economic, as well as the domestic economic front. You have to take the position that you've taken these steps. But now it's a question of cleaning up your plate, in effect, before in the Congress, and of stabilizing and making the initiatives function that you've already announced.
Right.
And that this is a period of expansion and consolidation and or whatever other words we can come up with.
Well, as soon as I begin there, I'll get something by Thursday or Friday. I'll like to have you take a look. The language is as important as anything else. It's one other thing. Is what you have in your back a muscle spasm?
Yes, sir. It's just
ever had it before?
Not particularly. No.
I always have. You wouldn't when Ryland comes down on Wednesday. You wouldn't like for him to take a little. He's this great osteopath. You know, I use him every week. You want to take a crack at it?
Well, I sure do if I've still got it.
No. The point is, do it if you don't have it, even, because what it is this is the best. Rockefeller uses them. I use them. Mitchell does, and he's the great one in the country. He's an MD too.